Welcome back to the Tour Operator Growth Podcast. We are on episode 6, where we are talking all about social media. But Greg, you don't have the typical podcast background on. What's going on? Where are you?
Yeah, you noticed. I used to be in the basement in my house, unfinished basement. So I had to put a background on because I didn't want you to see insulation and all that garbage. But I've been working over the last few months on building out my kids' basements. I did all the work myself except the carpet, or not basements, their bedroom in the basement. And I finally got it done. And so now I got to move upstairs into their old room and finally have an office. First time since working fully remote from home that I've had an office. It's super nice. I used to be in a laundry room. The basement was an upgrade. And now I have my own space. So as we go throughout
No,
this podcast, I might start decorating. I might repaint it. I'm super excited to do some things to it, but it's not the next project on the list.
no more brick green screen.
Yep. No more brick.
Awesome. Well, I guess let's dive into social media. There is something funny. You guys might not find this funny, but I find it hilarious. So, Greg, there's this channel, or I guess account on social media that I follow. And every time they post, I get way too excited. I get so excited to see this account. And what is it, you might ask? Oh, let me tell you. It is 2 cats traveling the world. It is one day they're in Thailand, the next day they're in Japan, but they are literally on a journey. And yes, it is AI. And this podcast is not about how to craft videos using AI, I promise you. But what I'm trying to get at here is the excitement that I get every single time they post. Like, I'm like, yes, my favorite cats posted something. Imagine if you can do that, if you can post a a a video and get in front of your ideal audience, and they're like, "Yes, you guys posted something else." But anyways, Greg, is there anything that you really get excited about on social media? Maybe not 2 traveling cats, but
Yeah, I'm not a cat person, so it's not cat related, but I'm definitely on social media for like the funny videos, of course. There's a local comedian that is up and coming that's kind of like a Nate Bargatze style that anytime his video comes up, I'm all about it. Um, and then I'm really into like fitness right now. I'm trying to, I work out a lot. I'm trying to get healthy and make sure I'm not an old man that can't do anything. And so I get on and I'm looking for videos with graphics or videos or graphics that are like going to educate me on the things I like. So right now, ones that are like making me pause every single time and there's a ton of them that show up, are these workout videos that are like how to improve your bench, adjust your grip, do this, do that. I'm watching those so I can, one, not destroy my joints, but two, also like just be more effective, be able to lift more. So those type of videos are super engaging for me. And then anytime I see like facts or stats in like a graphic, almost every time I stop and read it. And then it comes down to, okay, was this AI generated? Is it real? Is it funny stat? Is it real stat? But those always stop me in my tracks.
it's all about being valuable to you, right? That video is getting in front of you, and you really said something that I think we need to stop and say, okay, you paused on that video. You paused, and that is so important. Stop the scroll. That's what you want your videos to do when they're in front of people. Stop the scroll. And that's the power of social media, is you can get in front of people and add value to their lives. And that's why we include social media as part of the dreaming phase. Um, so my husband Chad is planning a trip to Spain now, but to go take photos of Iberian lynx. But he's a photographer. He loves taking photos of animals. And we just finished our safari in Tanzania. And we came home and we were just scrolling on social media, or I should say, he was scrolling on social media, and he stopped the scroll because he saw these beautiful cats. And it said something on the screen like, in Spain, you could go see these Iberian cats. And I had no clue these cats were 8-hour drive from us. So we're in in France, so it's not far. So we had no idea that this even was a tour that we could go on. So that account that posted that really just got in front of us and made us stop and was like, wow, this is something we could do. Let's start planning it. And that's when we then started comparing, looking at prices, and then checking availability, researching the tours. But it was that initial social media post that got in front of us.
Yeah, it's crazy what the power of just an image can do. I had a similar experience. It's not social media related, but we were building a website years ago now, and I came across we were using some free stock images for a few elements to kind of spruce it up a little bit in spots, and I came across this image that was this beautiful, beautiful blue lake and these beautiful mountains. I had no clue where it was, what it was, but I was like, "Wherever that is, I gotta go there." Right? And so I started looking up, "Where is this? How do I find out what this is?" And it was Banff National Park, and that led me into, like, 4 years later, finally going on the trip to Banff National Park and loved it, loved everything about it. So it's interesting how it took me 4 years to get there, and it wasn't even a social media post, but the power of, like, your story where there was some sort of call to action, some sort of something associated to it that makes you even maybe act sooner or dream about it even more because you already are like, "Well, this is something I can go and do." Whereas my story, I'm like, "I don't even know if that's something I could hike to." Turns out you don't have to hike to it, so it was accessible and easy to get to, right? So, lots of cool things that come from just images or videos or whatever it might be. And I'm old enough now to remember, like, back when social media was social. Like, it was so different when it first came out. I remember MySpace. I don't know if you ever had a MySpace account, but it was so
Yes.
cool to, like, put my song on my homepage or whatever it's called, so my friends could come and, like, feel what mood I was in based on the song, and Facebook, when it first came out, it was all about, like, connecting with your friends and having those interactions. It's what brought, like, people outside of high school back together of, like, "Oh, I can, like, stay in contact with my high school friends more." And now, 10, 15 years later, like, a lot's changed. When I go on Facebook, Facebook's really the only social media I use, um, mainly because I get too addicted to the others, especially Twitter. But when I go on social media, it's not really going on to see what's happening in people's lives anymore because most of the things I see aren't the people I follow, aren't the people that, I wanna see posts from. It's funny videos, it's things that I've watched or paused on that are similar, and Instagram reports that the majority of their content that people see comes from accounts they don't even follow, and I definitely see that in my feeds on Facebook. Most of the reels, most of the feed is not people I follow, it's just random things that Facebook thinks I'm gonna like. Sometimes it's the nail right on the head, other times it's like, just scroll past, and me knowing kinda how the algorithm works, I'm like, if it's something I know I don't like, I scroll as fast as I can, because then there's hope that it won't show up again.
Have you ever accidentally liked a post and was like, "No, I don't wanna see more of that," so I immediately unliked the post?
Yeah, I've liked the post, or, like, I might be scrolling and I stop for a second because maybe it has something to read and I'm just a slow reader, and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not interested in this," but now I was on it for 5 seconds, or I pause it because, like, someone rings the doorbell or something, and I was like, "Dang it, I'm gonna be flooded with these type of messages for the next week." Um, but these changes happen a lot, and the algorithms have changed, so I assume this, has affected tour operators. What type of things, Nikki, you being kind of more of a social media expert than me, what should they know about the algorithm and how it works and how it's changed over the years?
Yeah, my first kind of thing I wanna say is don't be scared of it. Now more than ever, it's easier to reach a broader audience for a very, very inexpensive price. No other marketing channel is this inexpensive. Now there's some you might need some tools that cost a few dollars, per month, but at the end of the day, social media is very inexpensive. So just remember that you can reach a broad audience, and that is the goal, right? We want to get more eyeballs on our brand, on our tour operation, on what we do. And just know that the algorithm is showing it to people. It's no longer follower based, as Greg was saying here. It's no longer based off of people you interacted with. It's based off of videos that you see. So, or you interact with, you engage with. It's not based off of your followers' interests. That's how it was in the past with Instagram. It's always been interest based on the TikTok side of things. And that's why they do so good at what they do and it really hooks people in. So Instagram started to implement that as well. Also, note that the algorithm decides who sees your content. So, what's really interesting is the way it works is you post a video. So, as a tour operation, you post a video. Now that video goes into like a little test audience. The algorithm shows that to a handful of people. And if those people start to like, engage, or view that video, the algorithm says, okay, this video is good. Let's now show it to a broader audience. But what's cool about this is there's kind of a formula that takes place, right? Because if you know what to get past that kind of test phase, you're now able to scale all of your content to a broader audience. So now all your videos are getting a lot of views. So a few things to keep in mind is that first 3 seconds matters more than anything. So you want to hook people in, whether it's a person talking, you want a really good hook, or it's maybe the landscape or the tour area. You want to hook people in. Completion rate matters more than followers. So you really want to focus on, is that video interesting? Are you stopping the scroll? Do people want to watch your video? And, like I said, at least more than 3 seconds of your video. And saves and shares are stronger signals than likes. So that's why a lot of people in their comments or on the video itself saying like or saying save, share this video, DM it to somebody else.
Do you know who Justin Nunley is? Have you seen
No, I
his
don't think
videos?
so.
So
I
he
don't think
does a really good job, and this isn't a brand, this is just a person, an influencer, right? But he does a really good job at hooking you, that first 3 seconds. Almost every video starts with, like, some ridiculous funny video that gets you to stop, and then that's when he cuts in and says, "Hey, interesting fact," and it's, like, completely different about than what that funny video was, and sometimes he'll show the rest of the video at the end, but he always stops it right as it's, like, getting good. He never finishes the video at that first part, and so then it hooks you to watch more in hopes that, like, hey, maybe he'll show the ending because sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But either way, it's engaging, it's funny, and it gets you to stop. So think about, like, how you could do that with your brand. Obviously, it's a little different if you're, like, a zipline company. You're not probably just gonna post a bunch of, stitches together of, like, some funny video and then you pausing and being like, "I'm ziplining." So, it's getting that creative touch to, what you can do, what's working, what people are interested in. While you were talking about that, you also said it's like social media now is interest based. You elaborate on that a little bit? When it's interest based, like when I think about that, I'm thinking, okay, at least on Facebook, I can go and put like the things I'm interested in. Is it looking at that or is it looking more at the videos I'm watching and stopping on and pausing
Videos
on?
you're watching and stopping on and engaging with. Yes, absolutely. So the more videos that you're engaging with, the more the algorithm's going to show you that sort of video. The algorithm is so smart, it's beyond kind of my comprehension how it computes these things, but in simple terms, it is basing it off of what you previously interacted with, and it's very smart to change based off of what you have scrolled past really quick. And I think that's what it's so interesting about this, cat channel that I follow because I actually don't think I like their videos. I mean, I would. I don't do that intentionally, but I watch the video from start to finish the whole time. I might like a few of their videos. I honestly can't remember, but it's about the time that I stop on that video.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm a huge music lover. I thoroughly enjoy it, and I love finding new bands. That's actually used how I used to use MySpace the most, is finding bands, like, that no one knew about, and because of that, when I'm watching videos, if a band like, it used to be Linkin Park, right? When they first got their new singer, they showed up in my feed all the time. Or Blink-182 just went on tour last year, I think, and they were showing up a lot, and so Facebook knew they like, "Oh, music. He likes music. He stops on music," right? And there's this band called The Paradox, and they're a new punk band that it's a bunch of young kids, and when I first saw them probably 18 months ago, like, they only had a couple thousand followers. They were pretty small, and they were thrown into my feed because of the interests I had of music, right? They were the same style as Blink-182. In fact, Mark Hoppus from Blink-182 or no, Travis Barker, sorry, helped, like, produce some of their songs and got them a lot bigger. Now they're, like, at 200,000 plus followers. They have hundreds of thousands of views all within 18 months because, like you mentioned, it started kinda smaller probably, and then it started to grow as more people became interested in them. It started throwing it into other people's feeds that maybe the interest was slightly different. Maybe it wasn't as, exactly what they like, but then they're like, "Oh, this is cool." So, it's super interesting. The algorithm is crazy what it does. Sometimes it drives me nuts though, when I stop on a workout video and then the next, like, 7 or 8 videos are all workout videos. It's like, "No, I
No,
want different content
I'm
still. Come on."
stuck. Yeah, start liking some other type of videos. But that is the power of social media right now and why we are doing a full episode dedicated to this because so often we talk with tour operators and we are building an amazing website built to convert and we're doing their ongoing SEO and maybe we're even running their paid ads. But you know what they're not doing on their end is social media. And no agency can do it more effective than you because you have the content, you know your brand more than anything, right? So if social media is an afterthought for you, don't switch now. Social media needs to be part of your marketing strategy. And here's where I think tour operators start to feel exhausted. This is when we're talking to them, it's because they don't have the availability to post. Or they are posting and nothing is happening. They're not getting any likes, any interactions, any engagement, but it's because the type of posts that they're doing. They're only posting static images, so no videos, they are maybe only expecting direct bookings out of it. So then they see that, that they're not getting anything from it. They're not looking at the right metrics. And they take only their finished products, their finished their good video productions. They put a lot into it, post it, and then just see it flop. And then they get disappointed. So social media, just remember this, is not a booking channel first. It's a familiarity, if I could say that right, familiarity engine to get in front of people and create that sort of awareness.
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Mr. Beast lately, and he's a
I like
horrible
him.
example for the quality part, right? Because he only posts, like, very high quality stuff now. I haven't watched a ton of his super old stuff, but I'm guessing it wasn't super high quality at the very beginning. But one thing to remember, because you said they only post when they have availability, they're not posting as often, or they're not seeing results. But, like, you're not gonna see results immediately, most likely, unless you're one of the lucky ones that's like, you post and it just takes off and now you're, viral. Doesn't happen to everyone all the time. Usually it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, at least for, like, social media influencers, like, it takes years of consistency for them to be as big as they are. It's not usually not just an overnight thing. So that's gonna be the same for brands, like, you're not gonna just all of a sudden start receiving 20 bookings every day because of it. It's gonna take time and consistency, and you might not be able to track those bookings directly back to social media because maybe they saw something and a year later they went back and found you and booked, and so it's just important to be top of mind, be in their mind all the time. Um, and then going back to Mr. Beast and, like, the quality that he does now, like, that's completely different, but most successful people, they're not super high quality, like, it feels more authentic and real, right? It's like the Nunley guy I brought up, he's literally just standing in front of his camera with the tripod, and he, like, stands in front of it. It's nothing special, but it's engaging, so it's the story you tell. So how can you utilize quality? And this also isn't saying, like, don't have great quality. A lot of companies, like, I've seen some really amazing zipline videos or rafting videos, and, like, you're using high quality equipment. Like, turn that into social media, but also maybe give the phone to your guide and have them, you know, create a video in the Grand Canyon or wherever you might be. But how do you kind of balance that quality aspect?
Yeah. So real quick, because you said something and I was just thinking this, Western River Expeditions is a great example of using their guides to get content. And I know that's another issue is getting the content. Um, they posted a video and it got 1.5 million views, 239 comments, a bunch of new followers, so many likes. They got a lot out of it. And they weren't, at least I don't think we were able to track revenue directly from that post. But what's really cool is we got in front of over 1 million people. Like, what? And do you know what it was? It was simply a span of the river. It was a quick video. I don't even know if there was audio to it, but the algorithm picked it up and just shared it with everybody. So that was really cool. And what Western River does, just a quick tip, is they tell their guides to get some content, whether it's videos or photos, send it to their social media manager. And if the social media manager decides that they want to post it, then the guide will get an incentive. Maybe that's $30. I can't remember exactly. But now the social media manager has so much content to really work with. And that one that got 1.5 million views is one of those videos that the guide shared. So, how do you balance quality versus, more quick, kind of banter type post? Do what works for you and where you can create a repeatable system and test different things, right? Like, get that video out that is well polished and see if it performs. And if it performs really well, well, do it again and again and again. Just change the hookup, change different things up. But if you're able to get content out faster, that's still quality. Do not diminish the quality. And I don't mean in terms of quality of production, I mean quality of the content you're providing in that video. If you're able to get that out faster and create a repeatable system, then work on that and focus on that. So that's kind of how I would balance it. I would do a mix of both, but it depends on what you have the budget for. Maybe you don't have the budget to hire a videographer. I mean, I definitely recommend it if you can, but maybe you don't, and maybe you're just getting your iPhone out and every day, maybe you're a one man show and you're the one out on the trips and you're the one getting that content, or find a way or process to get that content from your guests, from your clients, ask them to share. When I went on my trip to Kilimanjaro, I shared all my content with the owner of the company. So I actually sent him over the flash drive. Again, it's a little bit different because I understand the importance of it, I think more than a normal consumer does,
Right.
but, he did ask. He made sure that I was willing to ma tag him in all my posts, and he did ask if he could share it because he saw me taking a bunch of videos on it, and it's like, okay, that makes his job a little bit easier, so I literally sent him a physical hard drive of every single photo and video that I took on that trip so he could share it as much as he wants. So you don't ask if you don't get what you don't ask for. So that's another little trick for you.
Yeah, and I would say too, like, it's a fine balance when we talk about Western River paying guides to get content, right? What you don't want is to take away from the experience that people are on as well. And in a place like the Grand Canyon, where especially when I went before Starlink was a thing, like, you had 0 cell reception, so no one was on their phones. And now if your guide is on the phone, like, it's really making sure they understand, like, we want some content, but also the guests are first. So don't, like, ignore them and just be trying to get content the whole time, because that's gonna diminish, what their experience is. But it's things like I went on a rafting trip in Moab, Utah with a bunch of youth from my church, a couple I guess it was last summer? 2 summers ago. And this didn't turn into anything, but we did like a jump rope with their safety line, and they said it was the most people they'd ever had jump rope, and I wanna say it was like 27 people all jump roping at the same time, and I was getting some video just for fun, and it's like, "Man, this would have probably been a good social post of like, we're out on the river, but we this is like some of the fun stuff we do during lunch, right?" And so telling the story as well, like making sure all of your content is still telling the story of what you want your brand to be. And if that's fun and authentic, like show people having fun, show your guides bantering with each other, show the people like enjoying each other's company or the sunsets, whatever it might be. Make sure you're capturing that, but also obviously making it engaging.
Have it top of mind. Always think, can I get content out of this? Should I be capturing this? I know I'm probably very, very annoying when I go to trade shows because I am the one that constantly has their phone out capturing every single moment. We're at the dinner table, cool, I'm capturing that moment. We have a team meeting, cool, capturing that moment. I might not use it, but I'm capturing as much. I think after the America Outdoors conference, I had over like 500 photos to go through, tons of videos. My storage was out on my phone, but now we have that content to work with because I always have it top of mind. And I know as a tour operator, if you're the owner, that's probably not something that is top of mind in the past. But hopefully, after listening to this podcast, you do understand the importance, especially if you already have a dialed in website and SEO going on and even paid ads, and then you don't have a social media account. If your ideal client is on social media, you have to make that a priority. You have to be on social media. And one of the cool things about social media is it doesn't matter how big your tour company is. It doesn't matter if you are just starting out or you're trying to, compete on Google with a big tour operation that has the budget. On social media, you could be your raw, authentic self and get in front of just as many people as your competitor organically. So that is so cool.
Yeah, I remember back when influencers were mostly just celebrities, right? They were
Mhm.
people that were already influencers because of their social status. And now anyone could be an influencer if you put in the work. And it's the same with companies. Like you don't have to be Nike or some huge, massive company. You can literally be a single person that takes people on guided trips to haunted houses or houses that are haunted or whatever, ghost walks, like those type of things, right? And if your content's engaging, people are gonna watch it and you could definitely go viral, you could go big, you could start getting bookings from it, and that's where the power of social media comes, and it's still the same lower cost avenue for you to get in front of people. And that's where too, like, personal brand versus company brand is very different as well, and when I think about social media and the things that I connect with most, not really stopping and watching, Nike posts or posts that are just about the product all the time. It's the people. Like, people are what make it different. Like, almost every video I'm stopping and watching is a person talking or doing something funny or whatever it might be. It's more relatable that way, more authentic, I think, as well. Obviously, there's great like the example you gave where it's just a beautiful landscape. Those things are gonna happen, and that's a little bit more branded, maybe. That's not as much a person in front of it, but it's still, like, intriguing because it's a beautiful place that people are gonna just love and look at and wanna start dreaming about going there.
Yeah, I always go back and forth about, um, when you're creating social media accounts, I think we get caught up on like kind of the technicalities of things. And one of them is what kind of account should I have? Should I have professional? Should I have personal? And you could absolutely have a professional account and talk about your company. That's not kind of what we're talking about here, but it's what's going on the social media channels that is grabbing people's attention and making it feel personal. So you're, showcasing the guides. And if you're the owner of the company, if you're willing, which I hope you are, to get on social media and with your face and you're talking, that will add so much trust as long as you're providing value. people connect more with people than brands, as Greg said. So
Yeah, think
tying it
about it
all
this way, like, let's take a bus tour, for example. When you go on a bus tour, usually there's a guide that's kind of keeping you entertained while you're driving in between different places, right? They're popping jokes, they're telling history, different things like that. And so the 2 different types of videos, when we're talking personal versus company, the way I see it is the company version of showing that would be like a pan of the bus and it shows the logo and you have
logo.
some
Yeah.
inspirational music or something, and then maybe it pans off to what you're gonna actually see, and it then pans into the bus and people are all happy and smiling, right? The personal side of that is more raw video of the guide telling a joke and people laughing. Like, things like that that are less when we're talking about less polished, more personal, it can still be like a well done video. It's not on your iPhone 4 with a bad camera that's just like blurry, right? It's still good quality content, but it's personal, it's authentic, it's less something you would see on TV or a YouTube commercial like ad, right? It's just authentic.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about, well, it's about the algorithm picking you up, and we know that we want people to see the video for at least 3 seconds, and liking and sharing, that's important. But how do we get the algorithm to pick you up? Of course, it needs to be engaging, but what is the algorithm basing it off of? So they're basing it off of the actual visual, they're basing it off of the audio. This is how smart the algorithm is. It could read everything. It will transcribe what you're saying, basically. It bases it off of the captions that you're writing. So I always say to people when I'm helping them with their social media accounts is throw in some natural sounding keywords. For example, if we're posting something on social media, I always make sure to caption tour operator, because now the algorithm knows I'm trying to get in front of tour operators. And it obviously is going to pick it up based off of how many people are engaging. Um, do you know what it doesn't base it off of, Greg?
I'm believing, based on how it's all changed, trying to get me to talk about hashtags.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah,
hashtags
yeah,
used to be the big thing, right? Hashtags were like, "Let's hashtag this, hashtag that, hashtag blessed,"
yeah.
and it doesn't care about that nearly as much as it used to. Like, that used to be how you got more interaction. I used to always, like I'm really into sports, college basketball, football, and I would always like hashtag BYU football, hashtag go Cougs, and it's like that's how I got people to see my posts. And I have noticed in the last few years, like I can do that, but it's still a way small. I'm no influencer, so it's like way fewer people seeing it now than it used to when I would use hashtags. Something you said that's interesting too is captions. I
Yeah,
don't know. I'm sure most people have noticed, but like when you go through Reels or TikTok, whatever it is, so many videos, if not all of them, have captions on screen. And I find myself
they need
literally
to.
just reading the captions instead of actually watching the video. And I don't know why I do it. I absolutely hate that I do it, but it always like draws me into
Keeps
reading
you
it.
on the video.
It keeps me on the video and it is what's making me laugh. What they're saying is keeping me engaged, making me laugh, making me entertained, making me educated, whatever. But like more and more I'm reading the captions and not actually watching the video. And I don't know if that's some sort of
Tactic.
algorithm hack or tactic that is out there, but it kind of
No.
seems like it because I've heard other people
Well,
talk about doing the exact same thing where they just get
r-
sucked
the
into reading.
The reason being for that is a lot of times we're on our, at least this is from my own research, is a lot of the times we're on our phones and we're not in a place where we actually can have the audio on. So I've seen so many comments whenever there's not captions. Why don't you have captions on this video? But yes, Gray, you're right. Hashtags do not matter anymore. I actually have gotten that question quite a few times, or I've seen social media agencies in their social media plan that they present have all these hashtags. I'm like, that's not going to do anything. I think it makes you look a little tacky when you have all those hashtags. And actually, I believe Instagram now limits you can only have 3 to 5 hashtags, anyways. At least the last time I checked. Hashtags do allow you to organize your content in a way or create some sort of, you could do like a campaign around your hashtag. So they do have a place still, but they're not going to tell the algorithm to get in front of more people. I would rather you focus on what's the actual content in the video, and then that actual caption, not caption on the video, but caption under the video. What description are you putting in there? And is
Yeah.
it sounding like AI or is it human? Or I always say use a little mix of both, right? So often I'm scrolling through social media and it's not authentic. And the algorithm knows that. The algorithm knows that AI just generated that caption and it's not authentic, it's not real, and it's not really in your voice or tone. So keep that in mind too.
Yeah, so moving on to some other ideas here, I wanna relate back to how you as a tour operator probably run your business, right? You've over years now, especially if you've been around for a while, you've developed some sort of patterns, things that you know work, right? I've been on multiple rafting trips with the same company. Um, I've gone on it for various reasons, and it's still exciting. Or even when I was in Chicago, I've been on the architecture tour there like 5 times probably. It's super awesome. You go through the river, you get to see all the architecture, but it's like the same story that they tell just from different people. And they found what works, right? They found that as I'll use the example of Chicago instead, like, as you're going through the river, they found that people want to know, like, "Hey, right there, that's from The Dark Knight when Joker and Batman are, like, driving parallel and, like, shooting each other or whatever. And up there, that's where Optimus Prime or whoever the bad guy is, it was the bad guy, the Decepticons, like, set up their station, and over here is where, like, Orbit bubblegum was invented, and it's from soap, and, like, it's the same story every time, but they're mixing in different personalities, and so it makes it, like, super engaging every time, but they found something that's repeatable, that's very engaging, and it's the same with social media, right? So, there's no guarantee that you're gonna go viral, but there's frameworks like the Justin Nunley I brought up, like, he does almost the same videos every time, so find that repeatable format that's working. Change the hook. Make it something else that's gonna draw people in, and then test it and publish quickly and keep doing that over and over and over, and as you see it stick, just keep doing it. It doesn't mean like, "Oh, this works, so let's go try something completely different that maybe might work or maybe won't." Not saying you can't do that as well, but still create those videos that once you find that framework that's working for you, like, own it. Keep doing it, make sure it's still engaging, and just rinse and repeat because that's what people like is that predictability, I think, like, I know when I get on Justin Nunley, it's gonna be some same thing, it's gonna be funny, right? And
And you
so, finding that's gonna be super helpful.
What's really cool is, and I think I say this every episode, but we're in an industry where it is probably easier to do that than a lot of other industries because this industry is so interesting. The consumer actually wants to view your content because it's beautiful and, it can be so engaging. So keep that in mind. Like, don't limit yourself because every tour operator I've ever come across offers the most amazing experience, and consumers want to see it. They want to learn more about it. Or maybe they don't know about it, but if you get in front of them, just like my whole Iberian Lynx situation, I'm now interested in that. So let's talk about what tour operators can kind of how they can create that repeatable system. So this is kind of where that more social media planner comes into place or a process that you can implement. We did a blog post a little while ago and it's our top performing blog post, but it's 19 social media ideas. And basically it's just going through different ideas for you, but that's a lot. 19 is a lot. So here are three kind of top ideas that you can implement behind the scenes. So think guys preparing the gear, morning river conditions, or here's what guests don't see, right? So
Yeah, so those are kinda
micro,
like the behind the scenes things, right? Like,
yeah.
what the guests maybe won't see when they're actually on your tour. But how are you if you're doing, like, horseback ride, how are you prepping the horses? What are the horses doing in their off time?
Yeah. You know what I just came across actually was how to set up the porta potty. So,
Yeah,
I was like, "That," and it had so many views.
and
Obviously, you're not gonna.
that's based off of FAQs, right? So, utilizing questions people have, like, when you're in the Grand Canyon, that's one of the first things you care about is, "Where am I going to the bathroom?" And it's different because there, like, you have to go in the water and because it's so dry. Other places, like, you don't go in the water, and so these are things that people wanna know. So how do you make that engaging on social media so that people find you and that it answers the questions? Because you can use that on your website too. But then if it's somewhat engaging, like, it's gonna be fun for anyone, even if they're not looking to do your trip, to see and engage with, and that's only gonna help
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have behind the scenes micro education. So think like why the river changes every hour, or Greg has a kind of going back to he's since he's in the workout era of his life, which I'm proud of you for that. But like why bench press grip changes shoulder activation. I guarantee you, Greg, if you saw why bench press grip changes shoulder activation, you would stop the scroll. You'd be like, "Ooh, I want to know that."
Yeah, there's a guy, every single time I see him, I know he's gonna give me a bit of information of how to improve my technique to work better, and the only reason I found him is the algorithm dished him up, and his first video was engaging enough for me to watch. Because I get a ton of workout videos now, and I don't watch all of them, but those that are engaging, I watched him, and now every time he comes through, I know I'm gonna get value, and so I stop and watch it every single time.
Could think of so many micro education topics for our tour operators, like, as clients. Like, I'm thinking, like, American Ghost Walks, one of our clients, like, for his ghost tours, there's so many things that he could do, and then one of our tour operators in the Virgin Islands, so many she could do, gosh. Okay, so then the last one, okay, there's so many that you can do, but we're just narrowing 3 down for you. The last one is guest moment. So think first time zipline reaction. So like it's somebody's first time on the zip line. Are they scared? Are they nervous? It's creating some sort of anticipation, or a kid catching their first fish, or a couple celebrating their anniversary. This is engaging. This is really interesting, and people will stop the scroll. And one thing to keep in mind is we're talking video, 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 because video performs better than any other sort of content. So I'm not saying, and Greg, I hope you agree, but you can't post static images. You can't post, especially like carousel posts. Those are good too. But video is going to have a much more likely to create more engagement than a static post, right? The algorithm's go more likely to pick it up,
Yeah,
because
I
you're
mean,
not
think
really.
about how people use Instagram
Yeah.
now versus how they used to. Like, Instagram was based on, like, here's a platform for super high quality images that you can just scroll through. And then they introduced Reels, and who's really just scrolling through pictures all day on Instagram? No one. Like, you're scrolling through Reels. You might still be looking at pictures as well, so there's a place for it. But short form video drives the highest engagement across all platforms. Even, like, something like Pinterest where you're just pinning, like, my wife pins stuff. There's pictures, but a lot of times it's a how-to that she's pinning, and it's that much easier to understand how to do it later instead of having to read things, and it's just the world we live in now, right?
Yeah. The algorithm is there to help us. The algorithm is there because it wants to create a good user experience. So, yeah, it might get it wrong sometimes, Greg. You're seeing videos you don't wanna see. Sometimes I'm seeing videos I don't wanna see. But Instagram wants to provide a good user experience, right? So it is going to try to push your video, if it's engaging, in front of people that Instagram or TikTok thinks it's going to like. Okay, so I think we'll start bringing it home now, but there is something I wanted to say, Greg. We talk to tour operators, and I think the biggest challenge or bottleneck we see is I don't have time. And I hope that throughout this podcast, you understand the importance and you'll make time. But I want to talk about social media scheduling tools. Um, I use them. for Resmark waiver sign. I think that they make my job very efficient. So there is no hard research answers. There's no hard answers saying that if you're using a social media scheduling tool that you can't go viral or the algorithm won't pick you up. There's nothing that says that. But what I have noticed is when you use a social media scheduling tool that brings you out of the app, right? So you're not in Instagram anymore, you're not in TikTok anymore. Well, the apps want you to be in their platforms. They want you to engage. They want you to like other posts. So if you choose to use a scheduling tool, just make sure that you do go back into the apps just as much as you would be in those apps if you are posting natively to spend some time engaging and liking with your audience and the people that are engaging with your photos. And if somebody comments, you need to be commenting back within the platform. So keep that in mind. I don't want to overwhelm you with, okay, you have to post on social media. You have to post every single day. Your videos should go viral. It's not all about that. So use what you can to be efficient. There's a few tools I get asked this. This is a common question I get asked, like, what editing tools do you recommend? CapCut is great. But if you want a free app, I think CapCut, it's like I pay $23. We pay $23 for it. But VN is a free mobile app that you could use where you could quickly edit things, or you could just edit within the app itself as well. So just some quick tips.
Yeah. Hopefully this has all been super helpful. We're all social media users most likely, to some extent or another. So we all know like what's getting us to stop and what's working for us. What works for us might not always work for everyone. So make sure you're getting input from other people and really honing it in so that it works for what your excuse me, what your demographic is. And tying this all together, we're talking about that growth engine, right? The dreaming stage and the planning stage and booking and that whole customer life cycle. And I would say social media is a part of all of that. It helps in the planning stage as you're maybe you don't know what you wanna do. Someone sees that beautiful landscape that you talked about as an example from Western River earlier, or my Banff National Park example, and now it gets in their head of like, "I wanna go there." That's some place that I'm gonna put on my list to go, and as I do research and move into the book or I guess that was the dreaming phase, sorry, when I move into the planning phase, now I maybe save that video or have that in my mind, and I'm gonna go back and see who posted that and then start engaging with it more and look into your brand. And so now I can start planning something. And in the planning stage, like that's where the toilet example that you gave for the rafting company works as well. Is now I'm planning, I'm asking a ton of questions like, what is this going to be like? What am I expecting? And your videos can hit on those things as well. And then as they go into booking and the experience, and then obviously the sharing, it plays a huge role as well there. So social does not like replace your SEO, doesn't replace all the other marketing initiatives that you might have. It's another piece that helps to strengthen your marketing plan, lower resistance. It's a lower cost option in a lot of aspects. And so as we go through all these different stages, just remember there's a lot that you can do. Social media is another thing that you can do. So it's really finding what are you going to actually put time and effort into and put that time and effort into that and get really good at that before you just put a little bit of effort into everything. Because a little bit of effort into your email marketing and a little bit of effort into social isn't going to go as far as just nailing one or the other as well.
Greg, before we head out, do you remember for our growth engine assessment, what the score was for I have a good social media plan in place? Do you happen to remember that? While he's thinking,
I'm gonna look it
every
up really quick because that's a
yeah, look
great
it up.
question.
So, if you are listening and you haven't taken our growth assessment, I'm not trying to sell you on this. It is completely free, and it is a great opportunity to know where your tour business is across everything we're talking about in the podcast: SEO, paid ads, local partners? Do you have a conversion-based website? But one of them is social media. So that's why I'm asking Greg, do most people say they don't have a good social media strategy, or what's kind of that balance there? And so I'm curious to know that
Y
answer.
yeah, so our question we ask in the assessment is, our social and video strategy actively reaches and drives traffic from new ideal audiences. And 12% of people have said this is consistently true. 1% say, or 46% say sometimes it's happening, and 31% have said not yet. The other 12% said not sure. So most people, the answer is like no or maybe sometime.
You
And
know what that
so
tells
our
me?
goal, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that just tells me that means probably your competition isn't doing that good on social media. Now's the time.
Yeah, it's still a place where there can be a lot of improvement. We didn't go into like paid social in this
Mm.
episode at all, really, but that's a place where I could see like huge increase in effort there because I go on a lot of tour operator websites for this job and I never see retargeting ads ever. And that's like easy in my mind. Like someone came to your website, they clicked around, they maybe even added something to their cart. Like you can now cookie with their cookies, you can go and target them and say, "Hey, you were on my website. Here's some social media posts." I like rarely ever, and probably never see those. And I think it's just such easy opportunity.
Yeah. And if you, I think for all of our clients, we are doing, or not for all of our clients that are on our paid ads program, we are doing retargeting ads. But one of the strategies we do for our clients that are on our paid ads plan is we review which post had the most engagement that week, and then we boost that. We don't boost it within Instagram. We actually run an ad for it within Facebook so that we could target that audience a little bit better. But we already know that post performed really well. So let's get it in front of a broader audience. That's your target audience. So just a quick tip too. And it's pretty easy to set those sort of things up. So if you need any help with that, you reach out to Greg and I, and we're happy to have a chat with you. And if you want to take that growth assessment, I will put it in the podcast description. But thank you all for joining us on episode 6 of the podcast. We are still in the dreaming phase. We have a few more episodes in the dreaming phase, and then we go right into the planning phase, which I'm really excited about. All right. Please like, subscribe, comment, give us feedback. We'd love to hear from you if you're enjoying this podcast. Can't hear you, Greg.
Sorry, I had a cough, so I muted myself. Dang it. I just want to end with one thing where I had this thought while we were talking because we talked about cats, we talked about bench pressing and other things, right? As a reminder, you're not because you said something about your competitors aren't probably doing it, right? You're not competing with other tour operators in social media. You're competing with cat videos. You're competing with bench pressing tips and conspiracy theories and all these things that we all get like into, right? And so remember that you're not competing with your competitors' posts. You're competing with the other things that are drawing our attention. So go get it. Do a great job. Can't wait to see your posts out there.
Yeah, be creative, have fun with it. Social media is such a fun place. All right, everybody. We'll see you on episode 7. Bye.
See ya.